Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming back for another episode of How Did You Get Here? I'm so excited to have my next guest on. You all see Jacqueline Gilbert Franklin, but I know her as Miss Jackie, okay?
That's right. That's right.
So I met Miss Jackie when my first year working at Head Start. First, she came and did an observation in the class that I was working in, and that was the first time I met her. And after that, I would see Miss Jackie around at like our center events or like our full staff meetings and stuff like that. And one thing that stood out to me with Miss Jackie is when she showed up for those events, her whole crew showed up, and you knew it was Miss Jackie's crew.
That's
Like
right.
they and they came in proud to be a part of Miss Jackie's crew. And that has not changed since
Thank you.
the all these years that I have been with Head Start and Early Head Start. They show up the same way and they
Thank
all
you.
root for each other. I call them the dream team because
Yay.
Miss Jackie's team is on it, okay?
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
they are on it and
That's
very
nice.
impressive. They show up and everyone is impressed, okay?
Thank you.
So, Miss Jackie is the site manager at one of the centers in our program. So, Miss Jackie, tell the people what you do.
I am the site manager of the Head Start Center here at Bonham. We have two classrooms, which consist of two teachers and two subs. We have a child care support worker and a family partner. And we're located in Pulaski, Tennessee. And
Okay.
I just supervise. I have, like she said, such a great group. I just kind of supervise lightly and remind them of some things maybe they have to do, but I don't have to do that supervision like hands on, just right there. We just all work together.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I have what I call at in our agency um, the Parents Club. Okay, and Miss Jackie is a part of that Head Start Parents Club that I am honored to be a part of as well. So Miss Jackie, um, as a parent, when you started off as a parent for Head Start and your child was attending, um, did you expect or realize that working for this program is what you wanted to do?
No, I had no clue because I was a stay-at-home mom, and honestly, I have four children, and all four of them came through Head Start.
Okay.
And this was my baby, and it was a baby girl, and I sent her to school, so I was at home alone every day. And when they said you could volunteer, I thought, well, hey, let me just
Mhm.
go on out there and I still can be with her, because that was the last one. And the other kids were much older because it's 10 years difference between my baby girl and my youngest son, and they were all in school. So I'm like, well, I just go to school and I can still be with her. But
Mhm.
when I came to school, I always volunteered in the kitchen. And the reason I volunteered in the kitchen because that's where I was comfortable.
Mhm.
I'm a mom, I'm used to cooking, I'm used to helping clean and do. And so that's where I volunteered. And what happened was one of the supervisors over there in the Fayetteville office just called me one day and asked me, would I be interested in subbing in the classroom? And she said, that's different than volunteering. You get paid to do it. And I'm like, really? And she said, yeah, you'll get paid for just helping out in the classroom, helping the teachers when they need you. And one of the teachers had, at that time, it really wasn't a difference between the teacher and the teacher assistant.
Mhm.
That teacher had left. You could use staff, not staff, but parents as a volunteer that could fill in for that day. It didn't have to be a
Oh
paid
wow.
employee as long as you had an adult in the classroom. And so the teacher left and went on leave. and I was stuck in the classroom.
Oh.
But they were paying me, and I was a sub. Officially, I was a sub. So that's really how I got started. And after I got in there, I liked it. I enjoyed, being with the kids, and it just seemed normal and natural.
Hmm.
And I went from the sub to the teacher's aide to the teacher. I just kept moving up when the opportunity presented itself.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Now I
I
had a
know.
few steps between there and the site manager because
Okay.
there were other opportunities of things that I applied for, but I didn't get.
Hmm.
But at that time, I was just telling somebody the other day, God has a timing for things. I was not really ready for that opportunity at that time.
Hmm.
It was a time things because you just can't step up because you feel like you're ready to step up. You have to be ready mentally, and verbally using the right language, that type
Yes.
thing, because I was a little cocky when I was younger. So, you don't need cockiness in this field.
Yeah. Leadership is a whole different
Right.
ball
It is.
game.
It really is.
Yes.
And I wasn't ready for that leadership. But in so many ways, I had taken on that role of
Mhm.
leadership in the classroom and even as a teacher.
Mhm.
But that helped me learn and prepare me for, where I am now.
Okay. So tell us about when you realized that being a site manager is what you wanted to do.
Well, it was really when it came about to be a changeover because we did not have site managers. We
Oh.
started out, we had lead teachers. I mean, we had the teachers in the classroom because at that time we had 4 classrooms.
Hmm.
And one of the teachers was the supervisor, would consider the supervisor, but we were all really on the same level. Is because of the number of years that she had as being the oldest person there. So she was allowed to, just be in charge. And
Hmm.
she left and went to another job. Then another lady that they were going to open a new center and they moved me to that center. And I stayed there, I think about a year and did like home base,
Hmm.
maybe 2 years as home base.
Wow.
And the agreement did not go through as planned. So they moved me back here. So one of
Hmm.
the ladies that was my aide was now the lead person.
Hmm.
So then they changed over and we had mentor teachers.
Oh,
Uh, not mentor teachers, but mentors. They were
okay.
the supervisors. And I
Hmm.
had applied for that as well. But someone else with all the degrees was put into that position. And I always say God was looking out for me because it turned out they closed all the mentors out. And if I had gotten the position, I probably wouldn't have had a job
Wow.
because they let them go. So
Hmm.
that was still,
Hmm.
and I learned to whatever I applied for, it was always a prayer. And if it is to be so, let it be so. And if not, give me peace about it. And I've learned to accept it. You can only say yes or you can say no. And if it's a no, then it's okay. And that's how I learned. Because sometimes, you feel like, well, I should have been the one that got that job. And,
Hmm.
that, you kind of have that in the back. But, after a lot of dealing with certain things, God gives you a peace about things. So I learned sometimes no is good. And that
Hmm.
was a good no for me.
Wow. That's something how God works things out
Right.
for our
So
benefit.
after a mentor left, then I was kind of placed in the leadership role as a teacher,
Mhm.
doing things, making sure everything was, together and what you normally do. If they needed something, I was the one they would call or whatever. But then when they started to doing the thing like the site manager, we were
Mhm.
told someone may be put in that position and someone may be hired to be put into that position. So that was the worst summer I ever had
Oh.
because I had to interview for that position again, because somebody else could have came in and been the site manager,
Mhm.
so I made it.
Okay, so at that time you actually got the position.
I actually got the position as the site manager.
Wow. Wow, look at that.
And also during that time, I'm trying to think, after we were required to go back to school.
Mhm.
And I was like, I hated it. I did not want to go. I'm an old woman. I wasn't that old, but I was older, and I thought that was just like ridiculous to even have to. Even before the site manager came up, they were saying requirements were coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
you could no longer teach without unless you went back to school and get your associate and all that. And I did do that. Several of us. It was a group of us, and we did good. And I never was so proud as to do it after I did it, after
Mm-hmm.
I accomplished that, I was really proud about that because I think back then I was like 50 when I came out.
Mm-hmm.
May have been a little older, I don't know, but
When you
and
received your associates?
yes, right.
Okay. All right. So for those out there listening, um, it's not too late.
No,
It's
it's
never
not.
too late.
No, it's
Wow.
not. And even after I had finished, then they changed it again that you'd have to have your bachelor's degree. And I'm like, why didn't they do that while I was there?
Uh-huh.
I would have to turn around and go back again. So I did start, but at that time, they came to the conclusion with the number of years of service that I had, with the program that they finally came to where you could grandfather in. But I
Mm-hmm.
did start toward my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And after I got so far, I never was so happy. But I was working doubly hard because I wanted to hurry and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it just would have been so much easier if I had followed through once I got my associate's degree. So
Mm-hmm.
once you start, just hang in there. And if you do need a break, take that break. And
Yeah.
don't, oh, I can give that advice to you. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo
Mm-hmm.
it. Just do what you can and don't overload yourself, because when I went back for my bachelor's degree, I did kind of overload myself a little bit there because it can stress you out. It can
Mm-hmm.
stress you out.
Yeah. So you said that you were how did you put it? Um, well, my perception is that you are really confident in your abilities,
Yes.
and there is a certain assertiveness that you have, and the way you carry yourself says that you have wisdom behind your experience. So
Yes.
did you always, like, do you feel like that now, or I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
you
I feel like I have more wisdom now. And that is partly because I am older.
Mhm.
If I've had all these years and have not learned anything, you learn a lot. It's going to be some disappointments, as you go. And I've always been the type of person, and I'll just tell you this. I remember back, I had been working for a while, with this program. Sometimes people, when you work with a group of people have fears of speaking what they feel. And
Mhm.
I was always the type of person, I could speak what I felt. And I remember being in a meeting one day, and uh, the director had left the room to go get a phone call. And it was something that she had introduced, and everybody in the room was like, oh, I don't think this. And we're in disagreement with it.
Mhm.
So when she came back into the room, big mouth, I said it. And when I said it, nobody said a word. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody in the room was like silent, and nobody was like, yeah, that's the way we feel. And or nobody had an input, everybody was just totally silent. And then
Mhm.
I looked around the room and I remember giving them, I said, this will never happen again.
Mm.
I said, when she was, and the instructor was in there, our director was there. And I said, I will never speak up for anybody else. I'm going to only speak up for myself.
Mhm.
I said, because nobody else said a word. I said, but when she wasn't in here, everybody had something to say.
Mm.
And I remember one of the other teachers, after everything was over, she said she would never forget that. She
Mm.
said, because she said, we didn't do right because we were saying one thing, when we were all there, but then nobody spoke up to back you up once you said that.
Mhm.
So then the director also asked me, and I told her, but this
Mhm.
was later when she
Mhm.
came to me and asked, and I said, well, everybody in there was saying the same thing that I said. I said, but it is, the way that I felt. But I
Mhm.
told her, I said, well, you don't have, if I say something else, it'll be me, just me. I'm
Mhm.
just going to take it all on myself. She kind of laughed about it. It was no
Yeah.
big deal, but it was the idea of just being left out there. But it taught me something,
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes that's the way it will be. You got to go out alone.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, that's what I do. If I feel it, and even if somebody else is in on it, I won't. If you can't say it, then you're not in on it. I'm in this by myself. And you have to be willing to go with whatever the punishment is or the disagreement is or whatever. It's on you. So that's just part of my character now, is
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do. And sometimes I say my mouth, sometimes it just comes out. I still control things, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'll say, I'm like, then like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I didn't
Mm-hmm.
say it the right way, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but sometimes it's necessary.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
But with our program, and I must say about our program, I was speaking this to someone the other day, a lady that used to be a part of the program, and she was visiting. As a matter of fact, it was yesterday. And
Mm-hmm.
she was back visiting, and she used to be a part, and she asked me, is it still like it was? And I said, no, oh no. I said, our program is wonderful. And she just couldn't believe, and she was asking me about certain things. And I'm like, oh no, it's not like that anymore, and of course, since she was asking, she said, are you serious? I said, sure. And of my age, and she said, you still there? I said, yeah. I said, 35 years. I said, I'm still here. And she said, well, how long you gonna be there? And I said, well, I'm raising my granddaughter. And I said, in 5 years, if everything goes right, she should graduate. I said, when she graduates, then I'm gonna retire. She said, that's too long. And I said, well, I need the money to help her graduate. So we laughed about it. But I told her it's a totally different program. I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable in what I have to say. I feel comfortable if I need to make suggestions, or our program, they listen. Now,
Mm-hmm.
they listen to us. And I just think that is one of the best things. And we communicate. They
Mm-hmm.
communicate to us. It's not a let me throw something and hide my hand type thing. You know, it's not perfect, but that's great. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know firsthand that it's good to have work for an agency or an organization where your input matters and
That's
they
right.
are constantly evolving and growing.
Right.
And I have seen the change even in my few years working here, but I know you have definitely seen
Yes,
the
really.
change. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of changes, and I've
Hmm.
seen some things go back to some of the things. I
Hmm.
can't just right offhand say, but I've seen some things go back to the way they were at first.
Hmm.
But when you look at the good side of it, is okay, yeah, we tried something new,
Hmm.
but that didn't work. So let's go back and fix it right and go back to this. And
Hmm.
what it is sometimes they don't even realize that they went back because they were not here when it was that certain way. So,
Hmm.
either way, but it was the better choice.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So, one of the things that I discuss with my people is fighting the inner bully. And the inner bully is that voice inside that tells us that we are not capable, we are not qualified, or we are not good enough for success. What are some challenges that you have faced when dealing with your own inner bully?
My inner bully was more of color.
Hmm.
I know that may sound weird,
Hmm.
but in this program, we have, it seemed at one time it came to a point, it's like, okay, you have the a white person that would try to get a position, and a black person would try to get a position. And it just seemed like after so many times and the white person keeps getting the position, and you fight with that. Is this because I'm black? And it may not have even been the reason, but in your mind, that would be my inner
Hmm.
bully. I didn't get this because I'm not the right color. So
Hmm.
that was kind of one of the things that you felt, or you feel like, well, I'm just as smart as she is, or I've got as many years as she does. What was it that made her get it over me?
Hmm.
So that was, I think that was more of my, because I've always been self-confident that
Mhm.
even if I couldn't do it, I felt like I could do it,
Mhm.
or I felt like if I was given the opportunity that I could get it done. So
Mhm.
that was kind of one of the things as far as this program is kind of what I felt.
Mhm. So how did you get past or maneuver, or how did you address that within yourself?
Through prayer.
Okay.
Through
Is it an
I would,
ongoing thing?
yeah. And I would just, because I, like I said, I would pray about it in life. And a lot of times I would go into it and just forget it. It's not gonna work anyway, but I'm still gonna try.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I'm not, I would have that don't care attitude. It doesn't matter to me whether I get it or not, but they're gonna know that it's me. I'm gonna go on up there and be in the way. They can still tell me no. Maybe one day they'll just say yes. So, and eventually things, I start seeing things evolve and, kind of change around.
Mhm. Wow. Well, I'm glad it did.
I am too.
Yeah.
And I can truthfully say, we as people of color, have just as much opportunity at anything as anyone else. So that has changed.
Mhm. Okay. Very good. All right. So if your calling had a human voice that everyone could hear loud and clear, what would it say to someone who is currently where you were when you came in as a Head Start parent, kind of moving forward toward working at with Head Start?
I would tell them to go for it. Whatever it is, if even if it seems out of your league. I remember applying for an administrative position. I knew I was not qualified. I knew I was not going to get it, but I did it anyway. And within me, I was saying, okay, just go for it. You never know. They may just accidentally, and it would have been an accident. I had no clue, but I just did it anyway. The job came open and I just did it, but, I didn't get it, but I still, took that opportunity.
Mhm.
But you just never know. And always, sometimes you don't know, but it may be someone there that can help you.
Mhm.
One thing that I strive to do is help. Anybody new that comes in, I gave you a little tidbit when you
Mhm.
came into the program.
Yes.
Anybody that comes in the program, it doesn't matter if they're black or they're white, or if I see they're struggling, I'll just give them a little word. It may not be a lot. And I've even said, calm down.
Mhm.
You got it. It's okay. And I've even said things like, I know all of these words sound big, when they get to talking about the different forms that we have to fill out.
Mhm.
And I said, I know it's where I was like, girl, honey, I had no clue. I said, but I
Mhm.
didn't want anybody to know what they were talking about. So that I didn't know what they were talking about. So I would go back and try to look that form. What do they mean when they say this? What do they mean when they say that? Because in the beginning, that was another thing. A lot of things were not explained to you. They were told to you, but not explained, which
Mhm.
is a difference. And you're kind of like put in the job and like, go for it, and you got to do this form and you got to do that and you got to do that because we had a lot of paperwork. And one thing in specific, I remember as a teacher, we started doing anecdotal notes. I had no clue.
Oh.
What is anecdotal notes? I didn't know at that time. And then one of the not, I keep saying instructors, but one of the other teachers, which she was a black lady, she explained to me, she said, simply just taking notes of what the kids do every day.
Mhm.
Why didn't they just say that? Would have made it easier and I wouldn't have been worrying. So to me, that helped me know that just saying simple things to people and with anything to help them along the way. And that's what I try to do, is just give them a word. It may not be a long drawn out something. And I always offer my services.
Mhm.
I always say, if you need help, just call me. If it's something you don't understand, just call me. I say, I'll tell you, what it is. Because at one time we had I don't want to say time when we didn't want our supervisors to know that we didn't know what we
Mm.
were doing, or we didn't know a specific thing. And it was like, well, we don't want them to know. So it was a secret club. I'll call you, you tell me, and you tell me, that kind of thing. Because at the time we felt like we were inferior. If it looks like if you come and ask me something, then you don't know what you're doing. But then
Mm-hmm.
once the door was open, that they would say to us, you can, anything you don't know, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
It just made us relax so much more. And this
Yeah.
has been, years back, but it was a hill to climb. It was a hill to climb.
Wow. So you have evolved with the program,
Yes.
and the program has evolved with you as
Yes.
well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Very much.
Now, I'm going to be honest, your wisdom ripples throughout our agency, throughout our
Oh,
Head Start program. And I say that because the last episode of this show, Elle said the same thing. If I need anything, I can go to Miss Jackie and ask her because she is open to help, and she is, she's just available.
right.
So I want you to know that even though there were times that you didn't feel like maybe you weren't valued there, you are.
Thank you.
Yes, you are valued there. You have been and you still are, even with new staff. Everybody knows Miss Jackie.
That is true. I mean, because the part about knowing me, because some of the staff I've seen and they know me and I have no clue who they are.
Hmm.
I just know they may be a part, because once they start talking, then I know, okay, they are a part of Head Start, but I don't know, especially now since we're doing the COVID thing and you don't see
Yeah.
people as much. And even when we had our meetings, like you was saying in the beginning, we saw each other and people would come up and, hey, you have a great center. And I'm like, how do they know I got a great, you know? And they go, hey, Miss Jackie. I'm like, which one is that? And then I start asking questions, like, who is that? And, that kind of thing. And I get to know, but people do know me. Like I said, they would come and say, hey, Miss Jackie. And I was like, I have no clue who that is. But that helped me to learn other people. So,
Yeah.
but it's really a great program. I
Mhm.
have one kick. I won't say what it is, but you know. And when I say this, everybody will know the upper
Mhm.
part. They'll know exactly what it is that I complain about all the time.
Oh.
And that's my pay. I said I wasn't gonna say it, but that's my pay. But even that has gotten so much better. I don't want to
Yeah.
knock it like that. But
Hmm.
when you think you've given your all should be paid as your all.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah. But
otherwise, really no complaints.
the one thing that I know for sure is that even when we don't feel like we are being rewarded as we should, God sees what you're doing.
Right, right.
And his reward
A
supersedes
greater. They
anybody
are
else's.
greater because I
Yeah.
am blessed. I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am so honored to have you here.
Well, I'm
Um,
honored that you asked me. It's was really nice. You get my mouth rolling. It rolls on.
well, I loved it. I love
Thank you. Thank
So thank you so much for being here and for giving wisdom to my people. I look forward to seeing your granddaughter graduate. I'm
you.
so excited about that. Miss Jackie was nominated and received an award for being the life of the party.
Right, right.
So
It
I'm
doesn't start till I get there.
and that is so true. And I look forward to being able to, to celebrate your milestones and your accomplishments moving forward as well. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
well, everybody, that is another episode of How Did You Get Here with Miss Jackie. And as always, I am Lisa Lauture, the lady with the lipstick and the model with the message. And please, whatever you do, be amazing wherever you are because you deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you.